Get that another school. I see a button.
I got a red dot.
Boom, I see a red dot right there.
Okay, is the framing right now?
Amazing.
Yes.
You got them all the way.
Right now, one of
You
my
can see the
daughters,
podium
her son and daughter play
to the
basketball.
speaker. Okay.
And my grandson was on the 3-on-3 basketball team, USA basketball team. They won gold medal in.
Hello? Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, hello. Here we are. Hello, Miramar, San Diego Miramar College. We're here for another edition of Hearing Marginalized Voices Through Poetry, celebrating our outstanding diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism, and accessibility. Regardless of what's going on anywhere else, I would just like to first start by saying a heartfelt, genuine, sincere thank you to the IDEA Committee, the lead office, Miramar College in general. In a world where these things are being stripped away and gutted at a devastating rate, Miramar College, San Diego Community College District has stood up and said no. And I think that is one of the bravest, most heroic things that we can do. And so I just wanted to say that the IDEA Committee, and again, say the words, because all of these letters, all of these acronyms we come up with, they depersonalize and dehumanize things. It's really easy to say, oh, we don't want DEI anymore. But when you say out loud, we don't want diversity, equity, inclusion, anti-racism, accessibility, it carries a very different weight. So I am proud to work for a district that says, no, we are not going to give these things up. And as a testament to that, we are here today for this event. And I would just like to say, in the Lakota language, there's a phrase, Pala Mayaye. It directly translates to, you have pleased me, or you have made my life better. And I would like to say to the IDEA Committee, to the lead office, to San Diego Miramar College, to San Diego Community College District, Pala Mayaye. You are making my life better, you are making all our lives better by continuing in the face of adversity to have programs like this. So this is a special day, this is a special place, and I thank you all for sharing this with us, both people who are here today and people who will be watching this in the future. So without further ado, when I first came to this college a couple years ago, this is now starting my third year of this program, Hearing Marginalized Voices Through Poetry. The mission of this event is to do more than just check boxes. A lot of places want to check, we did it, yay, we had Black History Month, yay, we had Women's History Month, right? But I want this to be significant. I don't want this to be just performative. I want this to be transformative. So today we're going to have a guest who's going to share not just poetry, but history and just the origins of how we got to this in the first place and what we can do with it going into the future. So instead of Black History Month, I would like to, in the words of amazing resistance Chicago poet Billy Tuggle, we're going to celebrate Black Future Month. We are going to celebrate the Black American experience today. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have the presentation, but we'll also have some Q&A afterwards as well. So we can have some dialogue, some back and forth, so we can try together to figure out what happened, how we got here, and most importantly, what we can do moving forward. So with all of that in mind, I just want to start with a couple of short poems by the amazing Gil Scott-Heron. This first one is called Evolution. In 1600, I was darky. Till 1865, a slave. In 1900, I was an N-word. I don't feel comfortable saying that. At least that was my name. In 1960, I was a knee-grown Malcolm come along. Then some N-word shot Malcolm down, but the bitter truth lived on. Now I am a black man, still go second class. But once I wanted the white man's love, and now he can kiss my ass. And this one's called From Tomorrow. Those half-moon silly smiles beneath my children's eyes would not be there had light ever touched the retina of my brain. Had I in 1640 burned the ships that sailed us all to this special branch of hell, now would be no time to cry. Had I in 1840 followed Nat Turner and felt N-words everywhere scattering like wind-blown grains of sand, now would be no time to cry. Had I in the 20th century followed Garvey or Malcolm, King or Karenga, now would be no time to cry while white men walk on stars. So without further ado, I would like to present to you Mr. A.J. Houston. A.J. Houston is a poet, a publisher, a historian, an educator, a U.S. veteran. He's a creative force whose work spans poetry, publishing, spoken word, and education. As the author and independent publisher of 10 books, A.J. inspires change and empowers the next generation of writers. He hosts the daily broadcast 7:07 a.m. Pacific on Instagram Live, which I'm sure he'll tell you all about. That's in fact how I met this gentleman. And then here we are today in the same room together, showing that community can exist even when they try to isolate us. So AJ's performances and workshops uplift underrepresented voices and encourage meaningful conversations. Additionally, his Psychology of Writing Institute equips writers with tools for expression and creativity. AJ's mission is clear: to use the words to bring imagination into focus. So now I would like to invite this poet, this publisher, this educator, and what I like to call my brother and my friend up to the microphone. Please give it up loud and proud for A.J. Houston.
First, I want to say it's an honor. I don't know if you've written anything or if you've been anywhere where you thought you said something that mattered to somebody, or you thought you wrote something that you thought was dope. Oh, let me read this, and it didn't matter to anybody because you thought it was about you. Writing is the opposite of what we think it is. Writing, once you write it down, it's no longer yours to keep. If it was going to be yours, you would have kept it to yourself. Once you write it down, it's no longer yours to keep. So I always tell people the first thing about, be humble. There's a song, be humble, first thing about, the reason you be humble is because you are never as good as you tell yourself and never as bad as people say you are. One more time, you're never as good as you tell yourself. No matter how dope you think you are, never as good as you tell yourself. You're never as bad as people say you are. So anyway, I had this one poem I wanted to open up with. Because they told me how to work this thing. Let me see if I can work it right. I wanted y'all to read the poem because I don't think you know what it feels like to do something until you have group therapy. See, poets go to therapy at open mics, at slams. And poets are the only people that would go and share their most intimate details with somebody that they don't even know. You don't know what they're going to do with that information. That's the wrong. Okay. So I wanted to begin with something that was for me, because we write for different reasons, and when you find out, like all of January, I have a show, like you said, 7:07 a.m. Whole month of January, we talk about the duty of the writer. And the reason I talk the duty of the writer, because as you grow in writing, you assume more responsibility with the words you use. Because we always say it's freedom of speech, but sound's gonna cost you. So I think, but this is a poem I wrote for my mother, and my mother passed, and I only write because my mother told me I could. Mm-hmm. And what I mean is, when I was little and I was writing, my mother would take what I wrote and she'd say, "Oh, this is great, this is wonderful." And I know now it probably sucked. It probably was the worst thing she ever read. But she would put it on the fridge and put it in her purse next to the Bible, and I felt so honored that, oh, she says great. And my grandmother would say, "Oh, look at those hands. Boy, those are great hands." But I really think the hands my grandmother saw then are the hands that I have now. Mm. But my mother, I wrote this for my mother after she passed. I was like, I wanted to write something in honor of her. And I'm still trying to write the poem I've been trying to write. They don't come out when you demand, like, poem come! It don't show up like that. So don't get mad when you see it. But I wanted y'all to read this poem with me, right? How this poem is lately. And I wrote this for my mother, so I'm gonna read it for you so you can read it with me. And we're gonna go slow, so I want y'all to know that some pieces no matter how you say it, then why you say it. That's how this poem is labeled. It says, lately, I've been fumbling messages heaven sends me to scribe. These hands and fingers consistently test the viability of sound. The system of delivery differs. Some days it rains just outside my window. Often birds sit on branches mocking melodies my memory has failed to master. Taking dictation from clouds requires a different type of translation. No one in my family speaks the language of sky. It's been a year, actually. More than the mere 365 days we were told makes up a full solar return. These knees are worn to the tendons, to the bone. Caps would be on backwards from praying, begging heaven for grace for the power to keep moving. Lately, her laughter has been flooding the caverns of my mind, echoing through the mountains and the valleys of my soul. Been missing her like she left us yesterday. As if tomorrow has come already with this burden of belief, I must believe I stand here naked, 3 feet deep in a 6-foot hole, unable to pronounce the names carved on this rock. At least it ain't mine. Don't do time anymore. Not its passings or standings when still. Got time trapped in the gut of this poem. Sometimes can't stomach the hurt, attempting to master this blend of blood, ink, and sound. Lately, I've been catching up, singing. Leaving small pieces of me on pages and books, framed in colors, moving pictures. There are stages where my shadows has been performing verses my tongue was forced to spit. Must have misplaced myself more than I care to remember. Keep finding me on the rungless ladder trying to up when all America got to offer black men is down. This system sick syndrome of gifting black bodies in boxes without a bow has to cease. Look at the frequency parents in our communities are forced to bury their seeds. It is never meant to be this way. Lately, my feet have been pounding. My feet have been pounding dirt at the crossroads of better and yesterday. Pick a direction. You must be aware, yesterday is not a choice available. Ain't no soul-saving songs here, no guitar to play. Look at all the flowers planted. This ain't that kind of cross on these roads. No pianos to lullaby you into a restful state. Ain't no safe, nowhere no more. Flowers are memory markers. Somebody's loved one had their breath taken on this spot. Lately, I've been penning petitions for pens to pen this now just as I see it. Society's been blindfolded too long. Can't see the truth through storm clouds of lies. Got to pen this now in a bundle of forevers we can all hold for a time. At least as long as these fingers get attached. As long as these hands can form a fist. You don't know what fighting is until you're almost out of breath. Until muscles twist your body into spasms of quit. Been penning poems perfect for occasions such as this. Did I explain that language can comprehend? Ain't no safe here. For you, me, them, for us. Ain't no safe unless you brought it with you. Even that safe isn't comfortable in your present surroundings. Lately, I've been finding broken everywhere I look. Relationships, friendships, marriages, families, it ain't easy keeping myself intact. Forcing all this ink to stay where I put it, keep finding broken in the most secure of locations. Used to not be this way. Shh, shh. My mama's watching me do this. Share these scriptures and verses. Present these lessons I ain't even learned yet. Her laughter has been flooding the caverns of my mind. Echoing through the mountains and the valleys of my soul. Been missing her like she left us yesterday. And the reason I wanted y'all to read it with me is because a lot of times when you follow along, some of those emotions slip into your being, into your skin, underneath your tongue where you don't want to hide. You know, I used to say cyanide tablets you put under your tongue and it'll kill you. Or when you're about to have a heart attack, you put that little pill under your tongue and it'll save you. So if you put this poem under your tongue, maybe it'll give you some emotions, give you something that you came with or came for. Anyway, good morning. My name is AJ Houston. I wanted to share that with you. And I do have books, and I had a plan. I had a plan attached that I wanted you to know that it really matters how you say it. So anytime you have a question, you can raise your hand like this, and I will take the questions. But I like to start off with a love poem, because what happens? See, love poems allow you to lower your guard. You start saying, "Oh, it's okay. This is gonna be nice." So I want to start with a love poem. One of my favorite love poems. The title is, see, love doesn't mean it's skipping down, the flowers and all the other things kind of love. Love sometimes is just love. Sometimes there's no fireworks, no signal, no red lights, no green lights. It's just love. So the title of this poem is Collision. No one man can, not even Atlas, could hold the earth still. So when the worlds collided and you thought I wasn't trying to move them, I was. Just didn't have the power. Wasn't made the right substance. You see, I am formed of love, but you ask, what is love? Love is a cataclysmic eruption of emotions, eons of atoms and protons, battling too big to be a micron. This ball?
Bottom, pull the bottom, turn back on.
This ball wasn't formed in a day. It took more than a millennium to get here. There's no such thing as 50-50. It's always been 100-100, I'm 250 plus. Love enough for the both of us, but again, you ask of love. Love is a young boy on a ladder, carving marks until the door jam, hoping to one day reach the height of his imagination. I've always believed that pain was an eclipse when smiles and frowns overlap, making tears the only escape for our laughter, so you see, I laugh a lot. It's said to be the best medicine. Love never came with forever touch. We pin that on ourselves. It can only last as long as the life of the person who yields it, and it does. It never fails. Love is forever lost in nowhere. Maybe if I put it back where it goes. It doesn't. Love is forever lost in nowhere. With an X marking the spot, time is yet to pick up his shovel and dig up. We constantly grab at air for the substance we know will make us better stewards of hearts, but we're no surgeons. We use scalpels on it to cut us apart. There are memories we've purposely forgotten, tucked away beneath the broken hearts we survived, the faded footprints of muscle sounds of joy and sadness, our shadows who no longer whisper. See, love, we sometimes need a mic. Love is a firm-footed juggler with bad hands. He couldn't hold his palms if it was handed to him. We live in this bubble absorbing ultraviolet solar radiation, so when worlds collide, the atmospheric pressure renders humans unable to breathe, gravity fails us, volcanoes erupt, and we're jettisoned out of our comfort zones. See, love is a 10-year-old girl afraid to double dutch because her family's allergic to ropes. An overweight personal trainer who knows perfectly well what to do but can't stick to the plan himself. Love is a song in A minor sung in E flat. Or when a 9-yard touchdown return in a baseball game, spring in December. And a nano snowed in the bottom with the signature on the bottom. It doesn't always fit in the box you hide it in. Its love is cross stitches and patches on the knees of our genes from begging heaven for the fireworks believed to contain in our child fantasies. If we ever stop to notice, each day the sun rises. There's the brightest of glows with heat covering us all with solar flares. Combustible gas exploding constantly, there are fireworks all around us. Maybe we never told or could not detect for ourselves. See, love is in the details. The instructions we never read, the blueprints we tossed to the side, thinking we built it ourselves, but our fingers have never been long enough. Love is a 10-question pop quiz no one knows the right answers to. A Ponzi scheme you've invested all your time and emotions in. A great story to tell, you just can't remember the ending. It's a hero saved by the damsel in distress. Love is a daughter trying hard to recall the last words a mother told her not to forget. It's scoring a perfect 100 on a DNA test. Love is soldiers laughing on the final flight home. It's the first smile in the morning, last side night, peace with the Lord, helping a war on the side, a dentist performing brain surgery, seesaw in the sugar dispensary, a mariachi band at a rap concert. As planets colliding, eagles and tongues fighting for superiority, each one being the axis their worlds revolves around. It's an impact of magnanimous proportions. It's not yelling. We need to listen. It's holding hands instead of waiting. It's holding hands in the midst of the storm. You see, love is in the details. I appreciate for the mic for you, but that's the poem. Love is in the details. The title of the poem is Collision.
Don't worry about the mics. I
Okay.
tried to tell them that, don't worry about it, just go.
Okay, so well, good morning. My name is AJ Houston. There's always, let me tell you about purpose, right? I try to explain to all my friends that when you finally discover your purpose requires adversaries to show up. Often see, if somebody you didn't know yells somebody at you, something that even mattered, it wouldn't matter because you don't know them. An adversary usually wears friend shoes. Has on your best friend's dress or your best friend's hair or smells like your best friend's cologne or perfume. An adversary always looks like somebody you know, but do not worry. Purpose sent them to check your list. To check your merit, to see if this path you're on is really your path, because purpose requires you to know that you're on the right path, and see, you're on the wrong path if nothing happens. If you're going somewhere and nothing happens, you say, wait, did I leave something? Did I leave something at home? But every time you go somewhere, you say, damn, I left my keys. Oh man, I left my charger. There's always something to make you go backwards or get off the road when you're on the right path. So don't worry about the mics. Don't worry about the sound. We supposed to be here. We supposed to be here. I'm just letting you know this. So I want to read to you why last month the whole conversation was the duty of the writer. And I wrote this little thing, and usually I write something for me that expands beyond the scope of what I thought my duty was. So this is the duty of the writer in ink form, because a friend of mine told me a minute ago, she's not a writer, she just leaves ink stains on pages so people can find it and discover what it was that she was about. I think that's what she said. Something like that anyway. So, I had it marked in a different book. Here it is. The duty of the writer. Could be the duty of the writer changes as the purpose for writing becomes evident. I believe the duty of the writer is to write. Write every thought, wish, dream, question. Write for those who can but have never garnered the words. Write for those who can't, those whose throats were rendered mute, those afraid their words will be ruled a lie. Write for those ashamed to attach their names to truth. Write because you want to, need to. Write because you've been asked or told, chartered, anointed, challenged. Write because you have a pencil, a pen, a quill. Write because there are blank pages available, because a tree suicided his or herself in honor of your fingers. Write because your mother told you to, your father said you could. Families need your voice to root, to connect past successes to present day glory, to refute past trauma. Write, for if you don't, your gift can be taken and re-gifted to someone who will, because they're on at stake. Wonder in pens, admiration in ink. Write to leave a legacy of thought, a heart filled with sonnets, a tongue tied with mysteries. Write to leave a message in the wind, a quote in the clouds. The duty of the writer is to write how living and breathing sounds when you read it. The duty of the writer is to just write. And that's the reason I thought it was necessary, because your duty to write and your duty to write might be different, but the duty is to write. So you need to tell your story. So there's never a problem writing. It's always a problem with vision. If I could help you see what it was that you didn't see. America has our foundation right. The foundation that, see, when you talk about history, you understand that for 150 years, America didn't want any enslaved person to read. But for 150 years, America was deciding what they wanted to teach if they did allow them to read in school. So if you have 150 years to decide what you want to teach, you're not going to find the best things to teach somebody, or you're not going to find the truth. Maybe all the stories are embellished. Maybe Betsy Ross didn't know how to sew a flag. Maybe the 13 colonists didn't have 13 historians to tell what happened, but they still wrote what happened. America had all this time to tell these stories, so here we are, now years later, understanding that America told us lies. So now, where we get the truth from? I need you to tell your truth of Puerto Rico. I need you to tell the truth of your people. I need you to tell the truth of where you're from. I need you to tell the truth of where you're from and where you came here and how your ancestors, how your parents got here. I need you to tell the truth I need to tell the truth of my father in Greenville, Texas, a sundown town. You ever know black folks lived in a sundown town? Because I remember growing up, we would go to my grandmother's house. They had a reunion every year, and there was a big sign that says, "The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, and don't let the sun hit you where good Lord split you." And I didn't know what that meant. But later my father told me that this was a sundown town. So I started looking up sundown towns, and if you don't know, a sundown town is, in Nevada there are sundown towns, but it was for the indigenous people that lived there, that worked there. In Nevada, what they would do, the fire station would ring the fire station bell every day at 5:30. So all the indigenous people that worked in town would know it's time for them to gather their stuff to leave because they could not be there come sundown. And recently, 2 years ago, whoever the new mayor was started ringing the bell again at 5:30. And there was this big discussion like, he said, well, I'm ringing it because there was fire people, you know, there were members that was lost in this fire, this great fire. They say, but it's the same time they rung the bell for the indigenous people to be gone, so how can this be coincidental, or is America a coincidental place? I'm saying this for a friend. I'm just saying, a friend might want to ask these questions. I'm just saying, so I want you to look up where you're from, were there any Freedmen's towns or sundown towns, because you don't know where you were brought up because America never told you. They didn't want you to know. Anyway, let me get to this. I have 3 black books, right? I have the book, The Black Book of Black, that I'm really proud of. I have the books. Well, every poem I write, I think, is exactly what was supposed to be written. So it's only in the book because it deserves to be here. My 10th book is 724 pages of poetry and essays and quotes and ideas. Because every writer I've ever read wrote essays, wrote stage plays, wrote quotes, wrote news articles, wrote things that you wouldn't imagine that they wrote. So I think I'll go to this book first. I had things I wanted to read, but the other book, when I was getting out of the car, I have all these bookmarks. A lot of my bookmarks fell out. So I was like, that's what's supposed to happen today, you know? Do not worry about what happened, you know? So this is, I'm start off with poems I wrote for my mother. This is a poem I wrote for my mother that really mattered to me. And it's, I wrote this the year that she passed away. And I read it to her, and she knew what it was. And it's just called Mother's Day. I've been planning to ask God what memory is the last to go. How is it possible to hold sounds and images collectively? Can it be these solitary visits through love timeline has us bound to heartbeats? Birds a permanent relationship to a smile's echo. Laughter often reverberates through the corners of my mind. My father's chuckle, my aunt's boisterous outburst of glory, my mother's sounding joy. We know laughter personally. It has forever held us in the comfort of his touch. The sound of it caresses our inner child, holds us when alone or sadness attempts to steal our light. We remember how love greets us at first encounter, how first sight can be true, even when we're ashamed to say it. Pointer, middle, thumb, like pressure. Pointer, middle, thumb, like pressure. My mother never said directly, but rather inferred. The most important lesson to learn in school is the proper way to hold a pen. Writing comes later. Pointer, middle, thumb, like pressure. Pens are island retreats. Planets too far away to draw, a touch less to hands and fingers, a kiss with no lips, fellowship without being there. It's the perfect way to say a lasting I love you. It's the story retold when grace shows up unannounced. Pens are swords and spears in the fingers of the right warrior, a sermon on a hill, a prayer on bended knee, with amen attached. Pens are the perfect tool for prophets, painters, and poets alike. I cannot take credit for anything I've written or conjured from the depths of souls nearly forgotten. It is not by choice I write. I did not choose to be a conveyor of thought, a presenter of pictures using ink and sound. My mother placed the promise of imagination in my head years ago, long before I knew what imagination was or how it felt. When fingers stole what was already not mine to keep, wrote it, and safely bound in bindings and books where those looking could easily find. I read the way she sang Amazing Grace. No need to venture beyond the title to know she is amazing and grace is a given. I'm often left speechless, unable to explain how grateful and blessed I am for the lessons, the teachings, the listening, the talks, the scriptures, the verses, the songs, the love. How can this not be that forever kind of love we search for in songs, in poems, in life? Pointer, middle, thumb, like pressure. Pointer, middle, thumb, like pressure. I write for her because she taught me alphabets and spelling and math and rhymes and singing and tones and courtesy and gentlemanship and love and caring and hugs and everything I know. She taught me poetry, how imagination works, how dreams are tangible, how the sky's not that high, how the galaxy is waiting, how no one can do you but you, how to hold your purpose when you feel it escaping through your fingers, how stars will fool you glowing bright with the light that's not there, how we think or heard sometimes love can change to hate, but there is no such thing as hate, it's just not love. She taught me God gave us tears to show happy, to show sad, how tears are how we remember. Taught me how time has no effect on love, and how love conquers all, and all is not measurable, but is the all in all that matters most. Pointer, middle, thumb like pressure. Pointer, middle, thumb like pressure. My mother never said directly, but rather inferred. The most important lesson to learn in school, in life, in love, is the proper way to hold a pen. Writing comes later, and even today, I'm still learning the proper way to hold a pen. And I think it's only fair that I give you the reason the books are black. See, the books are black with black pages. Because my thought was, if they're banning books that they've read, I'd rather for them not to read it because they cannot not know history once they know history. So I want them to see it and say, oh, that's probably not good for us to read because we're going to know some shit they don't want us to know. So I wanted them to see from the outside and inside that, ban that. Oh, ban that one too. Oh, ban that one too. So I wanted the books, evidently, so they could ban them at first sight. So let me give you something. I see my man up there sitting with the Black Book of Black. I love that book. That was my first experience with fear was writing the first black book. Because you don't know how people's gonna take what you write, how they're gonna perceive what you've conjured or written. I think you're lying, hey, that can't be true. But the thing was, man, is once I discovered that somebody gotta tell this story, and when you look around and nobody else is in the room but you. You figure out like, oh, snap, okay, it's my job. So this is, I tell you I had bookmarks in here. I'm gonna find something easy for your palate. Okay, this is DNA. This should be easy, right? DNA should be easy. Anybody know what DNA stands for? What is the DNA? What is it?
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Okay, say it one more time.
Deoxyribonucleic acid.
That's it right there. That's what DNA is. So, see how easy that was? This form is easy. Okay, here we go. I've been here before, is what my feet say. My back can't remember how it felt to be unscarred. I've been here before, is what my breath tells me. Can't recall how it left so abruptly. Who took it? Wise Weeds back again. How comes free ain't come yet? Where it promised it was gonna be here at least by now. See, we don't know how many generations visit this body. Most are not aware of what DNA stands for or how it represents deoxyribonucleic acid. These are genetic instructions all those who have passed before us used to come back. I've said some things before I probably wouldn't have said if my mouth had not been taken over. Maybe I acted some way towards you that seemed odd. That wasn't me. I'm sure of it now. That was some of them come back using me to say what they want to say. Maybe if I explain how late at night I convene, summon, beckon, beg the conference with these black angels with the gong, the taken. They say they've been waiting to tell us things, needing a medium to talk through, offered me up, or rather they took me over. Told me I'm not American. Explained how them in power keep forgetting we built this America, this country, these states, counties, these villages, these cities, how the indigenous taught them to farm, to grow before they slaughtered them, took their land, how we built whatever you're living in, driving around. We the one got rid of them horses and carriages, made them lights turn red and green, made that hiss to them trains. I've been here before, is what my hands claim. Fingers want to be free. Want to write some of them documents, all the lies they told before publishing became proper, before they hand-signed pages made of hemp, wrote signatures in cursive. Why you think America stopped teaching writing cursive in schools? Don't want them to come after us, be able to read what's behind their glass in the museums. Hidden in the caves at the White House, in the basement at the Vatican. What is redlining? What is redlining? Is there somebody named German manipulating lines of jurisdiction? What is jurisprudence? What is intrinsic? Who elected Jim Crow to the Senate? Why he sound the same as he did centuries ago? Why I gotta wait on 60% of the people who don't like me to vote to ratify my right to cast one? What is systematic? Why banks identify as bad investments? How come it took years for them to let us buy houses? Why dollars are betting our community as if they're scared? Why blacks don't buy black consistently? Why we say Black Lives Matter every time somebody else kill us, but not when we kill us? See, this ain't me talking, officer. I told you some of them gone, got questions, got shit they need to tell us. Been wanting to get the pressure off their chest way before someone forced their heart to stop. I've been here before, is what my feet say. Why is we still marching? Why we ain't home yet? Why we ain't home yet? Where's home? How come we can't find our family? Where you put them? How come black blood still running in these streets? Can somebody turn off the faucet? Why the police still chasing us? Why they stacking bodies now? How many does it take to fill a refrigerator truck? How many bodies does it take to fill a landfill? Can you imagine how many niggas disappeared, claim COVID the culprit? They say there's a 60% chance we don't make it. But there's always been a 60% chance we don't make it. Back home, to the store, to the game. It's been the same since they added black bodies to the mathematical equation. There's a high percentage we don't make it. Walking, marching, running, driving, sleeping, sitting, eating ice cream in our living rooms. I've been here before, is what my breath said. Can't recall how it left so abruptly. Who took it? Why is Weeze back again? How come Free ain't come yet? Where it at? It promised it would be here, at least by now. So anybody have any questions? Let me get you. Anybody got any questions?
I got one, but I want to wait for y'all to ask first. I don't want to be... Anybody? Okay, yeah. So, I'm just going to go ahead and take up the whole rest of the time with this question.
Okay.
So, in lieu of everything, or in reference to everything, or just, what does Black History Month mean to you?
I mean, that's amazing. I asked a girl in the 7th grade before I left Dallas. And I asked all the young men around, they told me what it meant. I asked a girl in the 7th grade, I said, what does Black History mean? She told me. And I went there next Sunday, she said, hold up, she pulled out her phone, she said, I wrote something for you. I wrote what Black history means. And when she read it to me, I was like, wow. See, you don't know who you're asking the right question to at the right time, even though the people around you think it's the wrong thing to do. See, it's never, so what Black history means to me is that. I bring it up because it doesn't mean anything to me if I don't give you a legacy of thought to hold on to. If I don't make you research some shit you didn't know was occurred. There's things that nobody knows. There's Freedmanstown that's probably buried. It's probably waterlogged. There's probably a new lake, an old lake, a new town, a new freeway, a new park. There's towns that you never knew existed. But if I tell you something, you say that can't be true, and you start researching, you're gonna find your own. But once you find your truth, you cannot not know the truth once you find the truth. So to me, Black history is teaching everybody some truth about what I found the truth about, but making sure that you go look it up so you don't sound like me, because I have a quote that says, repeating after echoes will not make you a mountain. And mountains only you ever been around the mountains and you yell and the mountain yell back? And it's not in your name, but the mountain don't care, just yell it back anyway. That's what repeating the things you hear is that you don't know who said it, where it came from, but you're just repeating it, so you keep repeating it, other people repeat it. So now, you're a mountain, no brain. But the greatest thing about a mountain is, you ever look at a mountain and then you go home and you look at the dirt outside your yard and you say, this looks like the same dirt that was on that mountain. So what is the difference? Can you imagine what unity looks like when it's dirt? So those grains of sand had to agree that they would gather together to make this big mountain, and the grains of sand outside your house is just stupid. You don't know better, they're just out there. So imagine that we mountain ourselves. Black history is us becoming a mountain of facts, a mountain of thoughts, a mountain to pass a legacy down to those behind us. So if you don't look up the things that you know, how is somebody gonna know what you don't know so they can look those things up? So Black history is us passing a legacy of researching, a legacy of decisions, a legacy of doubt, a legacy of the best thing you ever wrote came so uncomfortable to you. You know, because if you're if you're comfortable writing, use a different pen. Because that pen has become too familiar with your fingers. See, to be uncomfortable writing, you start saying, "Wow, I don't know who I'm gonna read this to. I don't know who I'm gonna share this with." So to me, Black history is the history of all those people that did. You know, every day I say, look, I want everybody to Google, say, what events make up the civil rights movement? It's called a movement because there was a whole lot of events that happened. A whole lot of stairs got knocked out, a whole lot of buildings fell, a whole lot of policemen, a whole lot of water hoses, a whole lot of dogs, a whole lot of billy clubs, a whole lot of shots, a whole lot of caskets, a whole lot of buried, a whole lot of underground. That's a whole lot of things. So when you know all these things it took to get here, and you see one regime, one president writing executive order after executive order to remove 65 years of precedent, 65 years of fights, of blood, of sweat, of bone. We've got to do something. And the only thing I can do is tell you how important it is that we do something. So Black history is my time. Black history to me is 365, you know, but I want to tell you that it's time that we do something. See, there's this problem in America, right? Problem in America happened. They always take this joke to say, look, there's this thing, these people came for these people, knocked on the door, and all the neighbors was outside, and they had their phones out, and they was videotaping, they said, ooh, they came and got them. You see that? Look how many views I got. The next week or so, they came to this other house, and they said, ooh, they took some different people. Ooh, look who they got. Then you start looking around the neighborhood, and ain't nobody left but you. Then when the police knock on your door, who you gonna share it with? Who you gonna tell? So if you don't stop them the first time you knock on the door in your community, you're not doing your community justice. You're not doing your due diligence, because if one person is taken illegally, if one thing is done illegally and we don't say something, when your turn comes, you won't start to feel. So, any questions?
Give us one more poem, sir.
Okay, I have a poem I want to animate, right? As a matter of fact, I got a poem in this book that next year I'm submitting an EP for the Grammys, right?
Yes.
And the first poem I'm gonna put on the EP is this poem I'm getting to read, because, like I said, I like opening with a love poem, because look how easy it is, how peaceful it makes us. But that don't mean the whole EP is gonna be peaceful anyway. So I think this poem is on page 601, and I put it on page 601 because I've never heard a poet say, oh, could you turn to page 601 in my poetry book? I thought that would be dope. I thought that'd be dope to put it on camera, you know. Turn to page 601, here it goes.
Your first one?
Say again?
601?
Yeah.
Is your first one?
No, 601 is a love poem I'm reading from this book. This is 724 pages, but I just put that poem on that page specifically so I could say that. You know, and I wasn't gonna let people know I said it or did it because, but since you're here, we're friends. I'll introduce myself, y'all. I want y'all to know why I did it. So sometimes when somebody say, I read this poem on 601, you say, oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that one before. Okay, it's called Sun. This morning, heard the sky tell the breeze to tell the clouds to shield the sun. Last night, the sun rushed to this side of orbit, wishing to early itself to see what we were doing, needing verifications if our hands still remain intimate. Did our arms gather enough strength to unembrace our skeletons? He believed our shells were magnets for skin. Scientific justification, only possible way to explain why we together so magnificently. Heaven knows envy before it gets here, usually preceded by a rumble from above, causing the earth to answer in quakes this morning. Hallelujah came, stayed past last night's service. Hymnals sang during our love sessions, vibrations continued weeks later, holding our tunes, humbly humming sacred salutations in silence, in quiet. Don't you know? Don't you know I'm writing scriptures? Oh, how tumultuous these lips can be when used to their full potential. This love we got be church. Intricately woven in the fabric of sermons, be water walking, creating tsunamis with his tongue, feeding multitude with sack lunches, stone mountain carving, love lessons, new profound tablets for prophets to study. This love we got be church. Be preachers pastoring our love doctoral thesis, be mass choir singing us glorious this morning. The sky cried just a little, maybe just a few drops, at least over my house, seen them myself. Couldn't hold back emotions. You do know heaven watches our movements. Watch the way our bones collect themselves and dance with no music into perfect harmonic positions. Got heaven wishing in the physical to be human, a true heart sacrificial offering in the presence of time. I've witnessed minutes, stumbling over hours, awaiting our arrival, been stargazing lately. Seeing certain clusters of galaxies, been hanging close to the edge of night, sitting just out of reach, attempting to get a better understanding of why ain't no other love like this, like ours. Got angels standing in line, giving up their wings, for even they know this love we got be church. Cannot be found or discovered in any of the infinite number of planets we know of. Heard the sun say, he's been searching too, for love, for a connection to love, expansive enough to grow into magnanimous proportions. Love has never been this easy to fall and this hard to keep. This exciting, making me believe mankind has implicitly petitioned heaven for inclusion in the love we share. You do know I'm writing scriptures, right? You do know I'm writing scriptures. A prophetic revelations, interpretation of forevers. This morning, I decided to write a poem. To ask the grass, to ask the trees, to ask the sand, to ask the breeze, to ask the sky, to tell the clouds, to ask the sun not to give up. Been watching Earth for centuries, never saw love like this before. Looks like forever's always held collected in a holy collaboration in the skin. Together we were as magnets, for even heaven knows this love we got be church.
Give it up one more time for AJ Houston.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask, are you a religious person? Do you believe in God?
Oh, I have to. And the reason I say I have to, because I've talked to atheists, I've talked to people that gave me their rendition or something, but there's no way all these things could be by osmosis or accident and not on purpose. I saw my mother and Faye's mother pray for something and it came. I saw them pray and my mother prayed for me. You don't know how bad I was. I've been to other countries. I lived in Germany. I've been all these places. So I know I'm just here because this is my duty as a writer. But my mother prayed that I could live here to be my duty. So I got to stand on the prayers of the people that brought me. So regardless of what you believe in, I've seen prayer work. So I don't know what you do, but if you want me to, I'll pray for you because I think prayer works. You ain't got to believe. I got enough belief for all of you.
How does faith in God factor into resistance?
Well, faith in God factors, the reason, okay, that is the most excellent question. The reason faith in God factors in resistance because when you think it's about you, when there's a million other people in the same thing, sometimes, like everybody say, people of whatever, there's been sacrifices of people that they didn't want to be a sacrifice, but the story they told made them sacrifice. So you're going to stand on your morals. It's almost like Peter at the cross, like, okay, you're going to deny me 5-6 times. And he said, no, I never do that. But when the pressure came, he's like, oh, I don't know that dude, man. I just came here with these other folk. It's almost like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones in Arkansas, the Arkansas 9, the 9 black children that went to school first busted off. Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, is about 4 people deep from them yelling whatever obscenities that these people say, oh, I didn't know what it was, I was just there. So faith will have you reveal that you've always been who you are, but you got to change. You got to show people you can change. I got to show you that I love you regardless of who you are. Because that's what this system demands. This system demands that we community, regardless of color, regardless of hair, regardless of your belief system, Because we can't change something just on the strength of our belief. You gotta believe like you believe, and I gotta believe like I believe. So whatever God you believe in, or whatever Torah, Quran, whatever you believe in, it's faith. Faith in every situation matters how you walk it, how you believe it. So I'm not saying that there's one God and one thing. I know one God. Maybe you know one. Just let them be. Let them talk. Let them fight that out. We don't need to.
I have two questions. First one, so on a day like today, do you have like a routine? Like, how do you prepare? Say, like for today, do you have like a routine or a headspace that you go into? Like, what do you do?
See, that is great, but see, let me tell you, when I assumed the duty of a writer, it goes back to that sometimes, wherever you are, and I think I do prepare. I sit down and I put all these bookmarks on the poems that I wanted to read, and my bookmarks fell out when I was getting the books out, book turned upside down, all the bookmarks fell out. I'm like, that's the way it's supposed to be. So being prepared means that I came here ready for any question that came, ready to present. Every poem in every book was the best poem I could write when I wrote it. So I don't doubt any poem. I don't doubt anything that I've written. I wanted to present a certain amount of things to you, but just to show you that I'm satisfied with everything I've written. It's just what it is. And the second question is?
Second question is, have you ever read or shared a poem and, I don't know, this time just connected with somebody in the audience in an unexpected way?
Yeah, I was in Dallas. In Dallas, they have a West End Festival, right? The Dallas Slams used to have this little cul-de-sac set up. So all the people could walk by. It was a big stage, chairs, but all these people walked by. So I think I did like a 30-minute set. So I'm on stage, and this family, I saw this family, it was like 3 or 4 generations of people. You saw the grandfather, the grandmother, and the father and the mother, and all these. So I'm thinking, so they stood there for 30 minutes. They were walking by and they stopped. And so whatever I was saying then held them the whole time. So when it was over, I looked up and I'm talking to him. I looked, and this whole family was standing there. And this lady was crying. And she came and gave me a hug. She said, "Thank you for your words." And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I just did a 30-minute set. What words? So a lot of times, it doesn't matter the message. It matters that you give it. It matters that you share it, because you might think the most important thing you wrote, and somebody else might think the most insignificant thing you think is the most important thing to them. Because you don't know where somebody is, what they need to hear today, because every day you just need a word. You just need a word to keep moving, a word to motivate you to the next step, to the next day, to the next breath, to the next move, to the next pen. You just need a word. Sometimes you are the word. Sometimes you're the listener. Any other questions? I thought you was moving, you was getting in that vocal position, like, yeah, yes, sir.
Why don't you capitalize the first line?
Well, none of the words are capitalized, really. The reason being is I was explaining to her that when I learned that America took 150 years to decide what they were going to teach us. Not just that. Every person that came here, even the indigenous people, they started stealing from their homes and changing the language so they would lose a whole cultural language. But every person off the slave ship, every person off the ship, they had a ledger saying where you were from so they could separate them from the others. So everybody went to plantations where they didn't know the language, so the only thing they could do is learn to communicate with their captors. So here I am speaking English. But now I'm going to say, I'm getting to, here I'm speaking English. The only reason I speak English is because we had to learn to communicate with our captors. So after 150 years, they taught me English. I went to school, I learned punctuation. I didn't learn English in school, I learned punctuations. So I say, since there are no punctuations, I'm not using it. So all first lines, my name, if you see my name on all the books is in small. All the first lines and all the poems are small letters. And some people told me it's hard to read. I said, okay, my bad. And that's the reason I do it, is because I know America could have told us the truth. Because the only way you can tell the best lies, you know the whole truth. So I don't use caps. Most of the time I don't use periods. I don't have a comma just to break up so your brain can stop and go to the next. But I don't use capital letters most of the time. I don't use any punctuations because America didn't keep my language, so I'm not keeping hers.
You capitalize your eyes though.
Yeah, but see, I is personal.
Mhm.
I is personal to me. See, I is me and I is you. When I say I is you, you know. So those things give a significance, give a bearing to an individual characteristics that is not given to the country. You know, so that was my take. You know, at least that's what I tell myself. Oh, so what you think of that?
The way that you write.
Yeah, what do you think of, you know, reading it? Does it stop you from seeing it the way it is, or does it make you see it's the difference?
I think it shows how authentic your writing is, because the way that it's broken up, it's like singular thoughts coming into your brain.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's excellent. Thank you. Yes.
I think it puts an emphasis on what you're feeling and people and identity and expression rather than what I told you, the technicality of it. I think it, like you said, it highlights you, what you feel, what you're thinking, rather than the aspect of like, okay, this is what we consider the institution of writing, and this is what's aimed to this is your truth. This is how you speak of it.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am?
What did she say?
She says she think it signifies it's different from the institution of writing. It's technical. It shows the personal part, the personal aspect is that there's authenticity in that ability to say something without being technical about what you say. Yes, sir?
What's like one thing that you think helped make you a better writer?
Oh, now I'm gonna give you two things, right? Every time I do a creative writing class, the first thing I do is have people pull out the pens, piece of paper, and we write a contract. But you're not writing a contract with me. You're writing a contract with you. Because you're the only person you can never lie to. So if you write a contract with you that you're going to follow through for the rest of this time that you're writing, every time you sign, when you sign the dotted line, every time you think about it and you don't, you're going to say, damn, I made a contract with myself. And then the other thing is I try and get you to see that the American foundation of thought is American. But if I can tell you that you're a poet, and that you can raise the lenses from these American eyes and your poet eyes shine through and you can see the root to the tree to the seed, or you can see the ocean, and you can see the bones, that it's not saying it's bones on the bottom. If I can show you that your poet eyes can see these things, your ability to write will be a whole lot different than the foundation that you're standing on.
So it's more about what you see.
It's more about what you see and how you see it. But it's more about you signing this contract to tell yourself the truth. So now you see differently, and you're obligated to tell yourself the truth, so now you're not writing anything comfortable anymore because you think, damn, I can't say that because then I'll be lying to myself. And those are the two things that I think changes everybody with their ability to write, because once you sign a contract with you, it's frightening how you tell you. I have a book. Okay, I'm going to tell you two books I have. I have one book that's 365 original quotes. I went to the bookstore to find a book with quotes by an individual, but at Barnes & Noble's Books a Million, and I saw all these quotes by all these presidents and biblical quotes, and I was like, damn, I didn't find one. But a class that I was in, I told the students, if you're ever looking for something and can't find it, it became your duty to write it. So I'm standing in the store and I'm looking, please let me find this book, because I'm already working on a whole lot of shit. If I don't, I'm going to have to write me a book of quotes. So now I have a book with 365 original quotes, because I was obligated to keep my word to me, because I wrote the contract with me saying I would. And then I was looking for a book of writing prompts with the mission. There's so many books of writing prompts, but I didn't find one with the mission, so I wrote a book, did my creative writing class, and Let Us Write. Let Us Write is 365 original quotes, but I couldn't just write a book of writing prompts because I was looking for one with what? A mission, right? So I'm like, damn, how do I put a mission with these writing prompts? So I said, okay, it's 12 years, so if I write 12 writing prompts on how to write a stage play, if I write 12 writing prompts on how to write a children's book, if I write 12 writing prompts on how to write a book of short stories or a movie treatment, so the book, you write 10 minutes a day for a year. At the end of the year, the back of the book tells you how to put, you have a book of short stories, a book of poetry, a movie treatment, a book of a stage play, and a children's book that you've completed in a year writing 10 minutes a day. The book tells you how to do it. So The book came about because I wrote the obligation to myself that I would keep my word to me. So that changes, it not only changes how you write, it changes what you write, because now you're on a mission to make sure you're honest with yourself. Yes, ma'am?
Do you have a favorite song right now that?
My favorite song? Actually, I always have a favorite song. I think right now the song I've been listening to is I Told the Storm, a gospel song. But the thing about the song, it says, I told the storm, it's like, the words to me are poetry because imagine you're standing in the middle of a storm. You're not running from the rain. It doesn't matter that the storm is coming. But you say, I got shit to do. So you say, I told the storm, you can't last, go away, I demand you to move. So I'm talking to the storm as though the storm is a person. So to me, everything around me is a storm. So I can talk to everything around me, everything that's in dispute, everything I don't agree with, I can talk to it as though it's an individual, though it has life of person. So to me, that song signifies that. As I told this storm what I needed it to do, and it did. So, is that, man, let me say this first. I'm so grateful that all you took the time out to come and hang with me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being I do have some journals, I do have some books over in the corner for sale. So if you're interested, you can, and the journals, my idea of writing is that every day if you write something, and it's like, journaling doesn't matter until you finally write something that matters to you. See, I read, if you journal about, say, hey, look, it's Wednesday, got up this morning, it was okay, there's a breeze outside. Okay, it's Thursday, got up this morning, and then Friday you get up and you go outside and say, damn, when I Friday had flat tire, had this. I say, but I met this person. My tire was only flat, so I couldn't go where I needed to go because I needed to meet the person that I needed to meet. See, you don't know what's happening in your life that's going to direct you to a person, that's going to direct you to your gifts, that's going to make you understand the duty of the writer is to write. So no matter what it is, it's going to take you back to your duty as a writer. So yeah, so write everything. What? I understand?
No, that's a great answer.
Okay, anybody, I appreciate y'all. Anybody got anything else? Anybody want to read a poem? You want to read something that you wrote?
I do not want to, I know.
Oh, so you rose your hand with clarity.
I know that, yes, I had to clarify before I started. No, I don't want to read wrong, but, would you give us, not you have to do it, say today or tonight, but would you give us a good writing prompt, that we can write for ourselves? You know how you do something that's about the contract?
Yeah.
Can you think of like maybe a good prompt to prompt us to write something that would heal us, move us, ...
Okay, I have a poem that I'm just finishing up today. The title of the poem, If I Be. So my poem is about if I be a dreamer, if I be all these things. So if I be, and you put yourself with clarity on if you were this, or if you were that, or if you assume this responsibility, if you wrote, if you drove. So if I be would be the title of the poem, but now you can go anywhere you want to go with it. Yes, sir. Oh. Yes.
Have you ever read any poem from other countries?
Yeah, I do. And actually I have a friend from India.
No.
She was in Vegas and she brought me her book.
I'm from Iran. I'm Persian. We have a very famous.
I've been introduced to some Iranian poets. And I was saying about my friend in India. She introduced me to some people. She told me if I wrote a book of love poetry that she would translate it to Hindi for me.
Yeah.
So I wanna be.
Yeah, we have Hafez, Saadi.
So who's your favorite poet?
We have many actually in our country.
No, I'm saying who's your favorite?
My favorite is Modern.
Could you write that down? That's my wife right there on the end. Write it down. I'm gonna go buy the book and read it.
Okay, sure. I love it.
I wanted to also give you more information. You mentioned earlier that you liked learning about the diaspora.
Yeah.
I wanted to let you know Rico's first Harvard-educated black man and revolutionary who was murdered in the cellars of an old Spanish castle by being inseminated by cancer through the CIA. And his name was Pedro Albizu Campos.
Oh.
So I think that could share a piece of my history.
What's send it to me, and I will research that myself, and I'll write something about that. Because, and my thing is, America has such a horrible past. Why do you think they're deleting all the books of history? Why do you think they're getting rid of DEI? Why do you think they're getting rid of every story that America can tell about America? Because, see, it's not just America. See, when the presidents in America wanted to buy land, they put all their slaves up for auction. Most of the slaves had insurance from these companies. They invested in Bank of America, and AIG was the insurance company. AIG is still here, was the insurance company that insured the slaves. Bank of America was the one that put up the money, and a lot of times when they put up the money, they wanted to buy a house. Portugal and Spain and the UK and all these people were the ones that put up the money. So we looking at America as the culprit. America was just a participant. So, you know, I need you to be over there. I need people over there. I need us to tell this whole story to show that we can't hold one person accountable unless we hold all of them accountable. But I want to read this story. I do. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a strong, both of mine experiences with both of my great-grandparents were slaves. They cut sugar canes with machetes, and to this day, my father, he recounts saying that his grandfather was so used to that he would go outside and he would cut the grass with a machete. And this is recent to me. This isn't old. This isn't in the past. This is here.
The most amazing thing. Okay, finish. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
No, I'm saying the most amazing thing about that is that when we talk about history, we think we're talking about history. When you talk about history, you're talking about the lineage of your family, that my great-grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, my mother knew this, or my father took us to Greenville. There was a cotton field out there. He took us out there and let us go out there to pick cotton. And it was just, he didn't tell us it was an experiment. He didn't tell us that he wanted us to know how hard it was. We was out there, and a cotton ball has the four-pronged things that stick up like this needle straw. Has this ball in the middle, so your fingers have to go in between here to pick the ball up. So one ball of cotton weighs 0.05 of a gram. But every enslaved person was supposed to pick a bale of cotton a day. A bale of cotton is 485 to 500 pounds. So how many little white balls of 0.05 grams you got to pick to be 400 pounds of what? And I'm saying, see, when you put it in perspective, it's not history, it's not that far back, it's not that long ago. He said, damn, that was just yesterday.
The Caribbean, I feel like sometimes it's overlooked in its contributions to the world. The birthplace of a lot of revolutionary movements and ideas came from the Caribbean, specifically Haiti.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Haiti was the first. See, Haiti is in the condition it's in because when Haiti, I'm saying when Haiti fought for its freedom, Haiti was the first country that was independent, fought for its independence. But France was so angry that they said, you owe us $972 million, whatever number it was. So Haiti's been repaying that debt. So Haiti's economy is the way it is because it's paying France back the debt they say they owe. So no, Haiti is not disruptive. Haiti is trying to clear its debt. But see, America got all this debt in all these countries. It's not trying to pay the money back. It's just print more money. But no, I think that is it because the steel pans, when the steel pans were created, steel pans, it sound like a piano. It sound like a drum, it sound like whatever it is. But they were created before rap. Steel pans was their battle. It was them battling instead of warring, instead of game warring. They created steel pans and they would have steel pan battles, the way they played the steel pans. And then rap started having rap battles and b-boy battles, and that came from the steel pans from the islands. So there's a change in psyche when you understand that this came from that, came from this, came from that, came to this. To me, standing behind this podium with a camera, talking about poetry.
and I want to challenge you. You said that you think that not enough attention is paid, that the Caribbean and the contributions have been
Or overlooked.
so, write it.
Oh, Lord.
See, and,
I
and
want to. I
Right.
want to. I just feel. I know you said a writer's purpose is to write, and I know you said that if you're doing it right, it should be difficult. But I swear to you, sometimes it feels like I'm vomiting blood, and that's a feeling that I feel.
but that's
is-
red ink.
I don't want to do it disservice. You know, I don't want to have. I don't want to misinterpret what my family went through, what my ancestors went through. I don't want to take their pain and dilute it into something that wasn't true. You know, I want to do them justice. I want to do them service. I want to tell the truth as they also saw it. So it's hard for me.
Let me say this. Any attempt you do to write whatever is more than somebody else is doing right now. There's no way you can do a disservice to it. Because whatever you write, if complete to you, somebody's going to say, oh, this wasn't added and this wasn't added. Why do you think there's so many history books? If you go to the library, do you think that somebody in the library say, oh, shit, there's a whole lot of books, I don't need to write another. They don't because you say, see, me and the Dewey Decimal System, we used to be best friends. Me and old Dewey, we was hanging out all the time. But see, the Dewey Decimal System, it would tell you where these books are. And you start looking for the book you're looking for, you start seeing the numbers, and your number might be way down there, but you found something interesting. You say, oh man, I might do this one, and I might do this one too, and you go to, yeah, 8 books. But see, the thing is write it. Right, wherever you start is where you need to start. See, I think every writer that writes is exactly where they're supposed to be right now. Because did you ever feel your bones stretching when you went to the door down and you said, oh, stop. And then you go back about a week later, you say, damn, I thought last night I grew. But you didn't feel it. So now you go back and you see all those marks on the door jam, but you didn't feel your bones stretching not one time, did you? You never heard a rose scream out outside. You go in the house, you say, oh man, those roses gonna bloom there. You come outside, you say, I didn't hear no screams in them, but now the rose is as far as it can, arms about to fall off and trying to yell, look at me, look how pretty I am. And it's about to die. It's just trying to show you what beauty look like, but it's to the full extent that it can reach. And that's what we are as mentally. When you use the full capacity of your brain, there's still more space to go. Maybe you reach 10%, I don't know, you need to read that because the guy never said that we only use 10% of our brain. He was saying the 10% of the brain we use, so they start saying that. So it became an echo, so now they say we only use 10% of our brain, but that wasn't what he said. So a lot of times, don't take anybody's word for it. Look it up for yourself. Write it for you, write the story, start with whatever story you want to start. I'm starting here, say, this is what I see my country to be, or my country should be. Or starting like America would tell you. See, America would tell you, you know what America would say? My country 'tis of thee. see, you shook your head like, no, but that's it. My country 'tis of thee, and it's your country. See, when you say you are American, it matters. But when you say you're an American citizen, there's more responsibility to the citizenship. American citizen means I vote, means I'm looking at, means I'm helping my community. See, I'm American means that I ain't gotta do shit I don't want to do. But I'm an American citizen means that, it's voting, they having a meeting, city council meeting, they having a school board meeting, I need to go see what they're talking about. See, attaching citizen to whatever it is gives you a bigger responsibility. So you assuming the role that you want to write about your country is I love it. I love it. I'm giving you my information because I want to read whatever you come up with.
I have another question.
Okay.
Sorry. Do you think that freedom really exists in the
Did I think the what?
freedom can exist with this country? Because you said I'm an American citizen. For me, just being American, all it means to me is that you are at profound privilege. Everything you have and everything you can do comes at the expense of the rest of it. That's what America means to me.
But see, the thing is I understand. But the reason I say you can have it because you ever read the Constitution?
No.
I want you to read the Constitution, because if you read the Constitution in the first section, third paragraph of the Constitution is describing how the House of Representatives will be afforded to the states by the number of people that's there. And then it has a line saying, this does not include the Indians who don't pay taxes and the 3/5. That's the whole 3/5 clause everybody's talking about. Right there, that's the only place it is. So all these amendments and all these addendums to the Constitution, if we had 38 states to ratify that they remove this line from the Constitution like the Supreme Court keep doing, we would need no amendments. When they say we the people would be we. So there's a way to be free, but it's not the way that they're doing it. Because when you know the whole truth, you can tell the best lies.
I just always thought that in order for us to have anything, we just have to burn the whole shit down.
But if we erase that one line, you gotta burn it down. That brings clarity, because when they say we the people of the United States in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, which is just a preamble to the Constitution. But when they say we the people, when they said this don't include, you can't say we the people and it don't include and not be an oxymoron.
Do you think people can heal, they can get past with, this brainwashing, this sort of like, because we talk about oppression, right? But I think, we all know that oppression is institutionalized, it's in our psyches. We do it to each other as much as we do it to ourselves. Do you really think that we can free ourselves from these mental shackles if we're still living with the remnants of the past?
One of my favorite books is Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson wrote The Miseducation of the Negro. And it's not just for the Negro. But what he's saying is, the way you miseducated people, they always say this is, if you let people go to the back of the bus, when you say they're free and come sit at the front, they still sit at the back. Carter G. Woodson is not saying that we're miseducated. He's saying that we will be so educated in the American diaspora that we will forget where we came from. We forget our culture. Our culture doesn't matter because now we blended so well together that this melting pot don't need to be on the stove. But I believe it and I understand it, but I'm saying there's a way we can do better. And it starts with you writing the thing you say you want to write. Because I think once you write it, you're going to say, damn, now I got to write this. Now I got to add this. See, because when you assume the duty of the writer, the duty assumes you too.
I believe that.
But man, I'm so grateful, man. Bear, man, I love you, my brother, man. So grateful. I say you're more for coming out for inviting me. I want to thank the mics for not working. I want to thank my boss for still working. So yeah, can I speak to you before you go? Sure. Just give us. Now I want to thank the mics for not working. I want to thank my boss for still working. I want to thank Bear for coming up. Thank you so much for your questions, man. I don't know who's going to see this, but you have to know that the audience matters more than the person standing in front of you. And let's say freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is free, but sound don't cost you. So it matters what you say and how loud you say it. And make sure that you're accountable for the words that you write. That's all I got.
One more time.
Thank you. So I need your information. I have a thing with the email, IG.